Hi, it's Therese and Lost in Paper and I'm here for Altenew, and today I'm going to be making this card using this Moments in Time stamp set. It's one of the new release from November 2016. So I've actually got 3 cards that I make with this stamp set, and I'm going to share this one with you today. I decided to emboss this in white, and because it's such a large and intricate stamp, I thought it would be best to use the Misty. I have used my powder tool to prep the cardstock, and then just using some Versamark, and I'm using quite a large piece of white cardstock purely because I wasn't really sure which way I was going to go with this card, and this just gives me options. Once I've coloured it, then I can have a better look and make my decisions from there. So this is a normal piece of cardstock. It's not a watercolour cardstock, so I won't be able to add too much water to this paper because I don't want it to pill. And what I'm using is my Zig clear colour real brush markers just to dot some green on those leaves there. Now, I didn't bother showing you the embossing of this because it's white on white and it's really difficult to see. Even when you're doing it yourself, it's really difficult to see. What I'm doing here as I'm colouring it is I am actually referring back to the stamp set itself to see where the clusters of leaves are and where the stems and where the tree is as well. So as I'm colouring it, that's what I'm making reference to. As well as doing direct to paper with the zigs, I am also drawing them onto a block and picking up the colour from there. So while the leaves are drying, so that was just one colour green. Even though it looks like more than one, it's actually only one colour green. And because I've used it direct to paper and off the block, it looks like a couple of different shades, which is great because then I haven't had to add too much water. I'm actually dabbing off quite a bit of water off the brush before I pick up my colour. And now once the leaves have dried, I'm actually coming in with a darker green. I'm doing exactly the same thing. So I've drawn some darker leaves on and also picked up some colour from the block. If you do have a close look at this stamp, it's actually full of little flower blossoms, and they're just so beautiful. But I thought I'd take it a different way and not actually make it a feminine card, more a masculine style card. So I didn't bother. I did think about colouring in some blossoms on the tree, but I thought I'd just stick with the greens and keeping it very neutral. Then now I've got some dark grey cardstock and I'm going to white emboss my sentiment. This little sentiment here is from Goals. It's one of the mini stamp sets from Altenew, and it's just it's a bolder font. I thought it would mix really well because this stamp set, Moments in Time, has some beautiful sentiments within the set. But I wanted to make it look a little bit different, so that's why I've mixed it up here. It's a 2-line sentiment, but I want them to be sort of lined up on the left. And if you look close, I didn't line it up perfectly. I did actually do this a couple of times, and this was the better of the two. So this is the one I stuck with for the card. So I stamped the 2 lots of sentiment and then added the white embossing powder. And because I did have some stray sort of Versamark ink at the base, I could just wipe that away and brush any embossing powder that did stick to the cardstock away before I hit it with the heat tool. So now I am masking off the second portion of the sentiment, just using a post-it note, adding the Versamark ink again, and this is the bottom layer of the stamp set, and I am trying to line it up to the left side with the other 2 lines of sentiment that I've used. And I'll do the same thing. I'll just add my embossing powder, and the trick with dark cardstock is to actually get off as much of the stray embossing powder as you can before you hit it with the heat tool. It's much easier to remove it with a fine brush before, and if you do happen to miss some, then you can just easily use a craft knife to scrape it away once it's dry, but it's much harder then. So, The powder tool that I use does leave some residual powder on the cardstock because it's such a dark cardstock you can see it, so I just wipe that away with a dirty old cloth. It's covered in ink, just in case you hadn't noticed, and cut that sentiment panel down. So now it's time to put my card together. I'm going to do a top fold landscape card, and I've cut a piece of the dark grey cardstock exactly the same size as the card front, just using my ATG gun to add that panel to the front of my card. And then I did decide to add some fun foam to pop up the, what do you call it, the tree panel of cardstock. And I don't know if any of you have these problems with your ATG gun. Mine doesn't click off sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's my trigger finger. It doesn't work properly. And then I hold it in place with my fingers. It gets stuck to the cardstock. You know how it goes. So anyway, I'm going to pop that up on the front of my card. Just leave a really small white border on the right side. And I did actually, I forgot to show you that bit. Sorry. I did actually cut the side of the tree of the panel down and just fussy cut out that left side of the tree just because I wanted that dark bit to show forward there. My sentiment, I'm just using some fun foam again to pop that up on the front of my card, and this time my ATG gun decides to play nice, and that's what I don't get. Maybe I think actually it's user error. And don't tell anybody. So like I said, I've actually made 3 different cards using this same stamp set. I'll put the links down below to both my blog and to Altenew's blog, where you can find heaps more details and see lots more inspiration. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back again real soon. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.